Hello, today we remember the death in 1792 of Mary Wollstonecraft, perhaps the first feminist writer. Her best known book, The Vindication of the Rights of Women, in which she pointed out that the mental capacity of women is just the same as that of men. The only reason it might not appear like that is because in the culture in which she lived, women were not educated anything like as thoroughly and as well as men were, nor were there openings in any of the professions for women. And so she advocates a change of attitude, that society should accept that women are just as rational, just as clever, just as wise as men are, and should be given the same opportunities. For much of her life, and she died young at the age of 38, she gave the rational side of her a priority. She thought this was the most important part of what it was to be human. But there was an occasion when she discovered that other things were important too. She'd gone to Paris, and she was very much alone in those few months that she was there, because the French Revolution was underway. It was very frightening. People were very suspicious of anyone English, particularly if they didn't speak French like she didn't. And she was frightened and alone because the people that she'd initially gone to stay with had gone away out of fear of staying in Paris. And on one occasion she remarks how, in this state of being thoroughly lonely, she looked out of her window to see the king being taken as prisoner to his trial, and the dignity that he showed as he walked along the street, and the subdued silence of the crowd as they watched in awe at what was happening. And she said it moved her to tears. She allowed, at that point, the feelings to emerge. And I suspect she couldn't have said what made her cry, but there was something about that moment that evoked that response in her. And I think sometimes there is something deep in us that emerges in tears or in other ways, which we can't necessarily explain, but these deep feelings that we have are at least as important as our reason, as our brains. And so is our imagination. She said that following that incident, it was the first time in her life, she says, as she went to bed, that she couldn't put the candle out, because she had all sorts of dreams and fantasies and ideas how she might get caught up in the revolution and suffer, or what might happen to the king. She said she longed for her cat to be with her, to give her the warmth of comfort of another living being. And so she discovered also that imagination was important. And of course it is. If we didn't have imagination, we wouldn't be able to look forward to anything, because it's in imagining what something might be like that we look forward to it. And imagination is a great driver of us towards whatever it is we're imagining, and it can be something which motivates us to move forward in a particular direction. And so she learned that imagination and feeling were just as important as reason. And I think something that perhaps we might recall today, and celebrate the fact that all those three aspects of each of us are what go to make us human beings.